So I feel like the question that is on everyone's mind right now is what is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2? We're 2 months into this system. We just had a Nintendo Direct that gave us third-party game news, but now we're at a point where what's left? When stuff coming out? What is 2025 looking like for Nintendo at this moment of time? Fear not. Today we are going to be going over every Nintendo Switch 2 game confirmed for 2025 and beyond. And by the end of this video, you will see every game that has been confirmed for the system at the time of this recording. Because obviously, there's gonna be new games that get announced later on, but this is a confirmed video showing off everything. So without further ado, let's jump right into talking about Nintendo Switch 2 games. So we're first going to be going in order of the games that we do know release dates for, and then towards the end, after we get through all but confirmed release dates, we will go over the games that just have a 2025 release. Or we'll just be going with games that just don't have a year release, such as, Splatoon Riders, for example. So if you're looking for those type of games, stay tuned towards the later half of this video. Coming up first is on August 5th, Apex Legends for the Nintendo Switch 2 will be dropping. Now, you might be asking yourself, Apex Legends, shouldn't that already be out? And it was out for the Nintendo Switch 1, which if you see what that version was, graphically, it took a big hit coming to the Nintendo Switch. From a frame rate perspective, it was quite incredible with what they were able to pull off with the system, but graphically, yikes, it looked rough. But this game is actually looking really nice now. If you see the footage that EA provided in that Nintendo Direct, you can see the clear difference between the Switch 2 version and the Switch 1 version. I'm sure for all the Apex Legends fans, this is going to be a very big deal, as I knew that a lot of people talked about how rough the game looked on the Switch 1 and how bad the pop-in was, which should not be an issue anymore with this Nintendo Switch 2 version that is dropping for free. Yes, a free game. I think a lot of people, they're used to paying for upgrades for Switch 2 versions right now, but you can't really do that when Apex Legends is a free game. So this is a free Switch 2 upgrade that I think a lot of y'all will have a fun time with. On August 11th, Madden returns to the Nintendo systems in over a decade. Madden NFL 26 drops, and honestly, I'm hoping this game looks a lot better than what it did in the Nintendo Direct, because if you saw the footage, it looked like it was dropping crazy frames, which was something that EA was not showing off when they showed off the screenshots when they announced this, because this game was looking good at one point for the Switch 2. Now it doesn't. However, I do note that there's a history that EA does not really care about Nintendo platforms, so I think there's a good possibility that they just made this with no effort and didn't want to put any money into making it any better. And honestly, that is the EA thing to do. If you guys have seen the history of EA, they are marked as the worst video game company of all time. I'm not even joking. Now, if you're waiting for a first-party Nintendo game, fear not, because August 14th will have you covered as Drag X Drive finally hits the Nintendo Switch 2. This is something that I am very excited for. This will be the first new IP coming from Nintendo for the Switch 2, and I think this game is going to be a fun game to have in online play. I already have the perfect chair to play this game on with the Joy-Cons. I'm telling y'all, I'm ready to take this game serious. I think we could make this into an esport. Come on. Y'all know y'all want to play Drag X Drive. Let's make this into an esport. This is going to be a phenomenal game. Watch. August 27th, Stories of Seasons finally arrives on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. This is a game that I will be passing on. However, I do know that a lot of people are buying this game just due to the fact that Marvelous is putting all of it onto the cartridge. As you followed the third-party game pattern, a lot of things have been game keycards, and people are hoping to make these games where they're fully on cartridge sell like crazy numbers to show that third-party developers should, maybe consider that instead of the game keycards. Either way, I'm still not picking this up, as this is a game that is definitely not for me. August 28th marks probably what to me is the most confusing Nintendo Switch 2 edition game to have released. That is Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed Land. Now, this is honestly the reason why I say it's confusing to me, is I don't really feel like anybody was asking for this to have a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. I think the only thing people wanted when it came to Kirby was to have this game updated with a better resolution and better frame rate. I think a lot of the Kirby fans would have preferred them to put this type of development time towards a new game rather than this extra content that could be good or bad, which as of right now, seeing how some of these Nintendo Switch 2 edition of games are looking like, this very well might not be a good Switch 2 edition, as if you saw what Mario Party was looking like, that Switch 2 edition was absolutely horrible. And me personally, I just don't think there's enough to justify this, but the Kirby developers are saying that this is like an entirely different game, so maybe this will be worth the extra $20. It'll be interesting to see, as I think this will be something that we can expect for a lot more Switch 1 titles to get, depending how this does. I would just rather them put that time into a new game though. That might be a hot take though. August 29th, Shinobi finally returns. This is a game that I think will end up being one of the best Nintendo Switch games to have released. If you've been paying attention to the trailers, this is looking like a phenomenal game. The art style looks absolutely phenomenal as well. I think that this game could be very special, and honestly it's exciting to see Sega come back with a lot of their older IPs, as I think they're really trying to be more than a company that just releases Sonic and Atlas projects at this point. And this is the first step that they're doing. So if this is something that y'all are enjoying, I definitely think you should pick this up, as it's going to be an affordable game and it looks really good, especially on the Switch 2. That's going to be a great game to have into the list. September 4th marks the release date of Star Wars Outlaws coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I think that this could be probably the most interesting game to come to the system, as this game was not released onto PlayStation 4 and Xbox One due to the power limitations of those systems. We've seen Digital Foundry comment on the fact that this game was coming to the Switch 2, saying that it's kind of a miracle. So for me, I am interested to see how this is going to look and run, as I think this will be a good indication of what future third-party games could look like onto the Switch 2 for stuff that didn't come to like PS4 and Xbox One. So I'm marking this as one of the most important releases to come to the Switch 2 because of that. On September 5th, Blooper Team's new IP will be dropping on Nintendo Switch, Kronos. Now, this is a horror game that honestly kind of got announced out of nowhere for the Switch 2, as this game is coming out day one with all the other platforms, which when this got announced for Switch 2, a lot of people was expecting this to be delayed into either later this year or early next year. But Blooper Team shocked us all by saying that it's releasing day one with all the other platforms. I'll be honest, this looks like a Dead Space ripoff, more of a Walmart version of it, but I do want to pick this up as we are entering the horror season, the Halloween stuff. Y'all know I love to play my horror Switch games, and we don't really have anything for the Switch 2. So I think this is something that I will pick up for our iconic Halloween streams in October. September 5th also has the sequel to Damon X Mafia coming out, which honestly, I was kind of surprised that this got a sequel, as I thought a lot of people did not like the first one. I thought I saw a lot of mediocre reviews out there for this, but that didn't stop Marvelous, as they're going out with another sequel. This time it's coming to all platforms than just Nintendo, because I believe the first one was exclusive to the Switch for a little bit, then it came out to like PC, for example, which is also weird to see this because Nintendo actually published the first game, and here we are with the second game not being published by them. But I think a lot of people are still looking forward to this. The game does look really good, but I don't know, I think I'm still gonna skip out on this one. September 26th marks EA FC Sports 26 coming out for the system, which this is also FIFA for those that did not realize. Nintendo has not had a true FIFA game on their platform since the Wii U. Now, I know some people are gonna be like, but Max, it was on the Switch 1. Not really, it was the Legacy Edition. There was so much cut content that the Switch didn't get from all the other versions. This will be the first time that the Switch 2 gets a modern day FIFA with all of its content. So I think a lot of people are gonna go crazy for this. As for myself, I do not care, because the only thing I care about when it comes to sports is boxing. September 26th also marks a game that I think, in my opinion, looks like one of the most beautiful Switch 2 games out there, and that is Pac-Man World 2 Repack. This game is looking incredible from a graphic standpoint. The color of this game, it is just looking amazing. and I really liked what I played of Pac-Man World 1, so I'm excited to play Pac-Man World 2, as this was actually the first one that I played into the entire series. So I'm very pumped. This should be an exciting game for a lot of people, and I'm surprised that it's finally coming out after what? I think it was 2021 when Pac-Man Repack came out, so it's exciting to see that Bandai is continuing with this, as I wasn't really sure if they were going to do much more with Pac-Man this year since that other game came out, but hey, it is what it is. September 30th marks a game that I think a lot of people are very much looking forward to, which is the return of Final Fantasy Tactics. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care about this, but I know that there is a big Final Fantasy community out there that is going to very much care about the return of Tactics, as I've heard a lot of good things about this. I don't know if, you know, Coleman's like the Final Fantasy guy, so if he's excited for this, then maybe it's a big deal. Although if he's not excited, maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know. Either way, I know a lot of people are looking forward to this release on September 30th. October 3rd, Borderlands 4 will finally be dropping on the Nintendo Switch 2. It's cool to see this come out 3 weeks later after the other version's release, as a lot of people didn't think Borderlands 4 was going to come out this year, as it wasn't coming out day one with all the other consoles. But Gearbox made sure to put this game out so close to the other versions, that way you would still be able to play with your friends. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this will look and run, as Gearbox has done a really good job with Borderlands 1 through 3 onto the Nintendo Switch. So I feel like with the Switch 2, they should be able to do wonders here. October 10th, Little Nightmares 3 finally releases, as I'm pretty sure this game has been delayed left and right. In fact, I'm not really sure how I feel about this game, as I know that it's being done by a different team that isn't the original team of Little Nightmares. In fact, it has nothing to do with the original creators of this game. They hired Supermassive Games, the Until Dawn people, to work on this game, which I thought was an interesting mix to do, but it should be interesting to see if this will be a good game or not. Also marks on October 10th is the Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition. They're going to be re-releasing the first game with 60 FPS, 4K support, all that good stuff, and, you know, honestly, I didn't think we needed this, but Bandai said we need this. So it's coming out. I think it might be a pre-order bonus for Little Nightmares 3. I might be wrong about that though. October 16th, Pokemon Legends ZA arrives, and this is one that I think a lot of people are looking forward to after seeing what Game Freak has done with the Switch 2 when it came to Scarlet and Violet. If you haven't seen what those games look like on Switch 2, oh my gosh, they're like two completely different games from Switch 1 to Switch 2. And so I think that has a lot of people looking forward to the Switch 2 edition of Legends ZA. I know for myself, I'm very pumped for this. This is the first time I've been pumped for a Pokemon game since, honestly, 2014. So this should be an exciting experience for me, especially since my boy Tepig is coming back! October 23rd marks the release of Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. I was surprised to find out that there is really no way to play this game on modern day consoles other than the Xbox 360, which is, what, almost a 20-year console at this point? I was very much surprised, but I guess EA and the team realized, hey, we need to release this on modern day consoles. So it's coming. It's definitely one that I will be picking up, as I think Plants vs. Zombies is great. What I'm hoping ends up happening though is that this sells so much that they're like, hey, it's time for us to do Garden Warfare again. I thought Garden Warfare was great. Is that a hot take? I thought the first game was great. The second game was, and then the battle one that they released was like, better than 2, but either way, we need another Garden Warfare. I hope that that happens at some point. Another game also releases on October 23rd. One that a lot of people like. One that has been asked for to come to the system for a while at this point. And, you know, me personally, I hated this game. I really don't like this game. But I'm happy for the fans that they're getting what they asked for, since they, for some reason, like this game and really want it to come to the Switch 2. That game is Persona 3 Reload. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, October 23rd. But I will say there's only one good thing about this game coming to the system, in my personal opinion, and that is the fact that I will be able to purchase this game review the Switch 2 port, and then go directly into why I hate Persona 3. So now there'll be a video on this channel. It'll be the most controversial video I've ever released. But I'll have a video talking about why I don't like Persona 3 Reload. November 11th marks a game that, in all honesty, I'm not really sure. This looks like a completely random game, but it's called Goodnight Universe. It looks like you're playing as a baby with like superpowers, and you're going through the days as a baby acting like you don't have superpowers, I think. I don't know what Nintendo's on with this game. It's coming from Skybound Games. I'm sure it's definitely one of those games that someone will buy and it might be really good, but pretty random. November 13th marks the release of Yakuza Kiwami 1+2. Now, that's supposed to be the second game that's releasing, but they've also just announced that the first game will be getting a Switch 2 upgrade, which for me is not good, as I bought the Switch 1 edition physically. And guess what? Sega says that there will not be an upgrade that you can get. You'll have to buy the game again, because Sega loves us. This game did not run very well on the Switch 1 when it came out. So yeah, I'm about to buy this game again, but it's coming out November 13th, day one, both games, and there will be a physical release. It's unclear if it's going to be both of the games as a physical release or a separate release between both. But November 13th is a big Yakuza day for the Nintendo Switch 2 fans. November 14th marks Dragon Ball Sparking Zero coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, this is a game that I hear a lot of people really wanting on a Nintendo platform, so it's cool to see it finally arrive. However, Bandai is doing some very weird decisions with this game, as the resolution has been found to be 810p, which is absolutely ridiculous if I do say so myself. It's coming to the Switch 2. I'm sure a lot of people will still be happy nonetheless. I'm curious if Bandai ever used the DLSS that a lot of third-party developers have been using, because that's the only reason why I feel like that this is not at 1080p or 4K. November 18th marks a game that I personally am pumped for, as I think that this will be a phenomenal game, as if you've played the other games in the series, it has been great. And that is Spongebob, Titan of Tide. This is coming from THQ Purple Lamp. They did the Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Then they did the Cosmic Shake. This is going to be a sequel to Cosmic Shake, and I'm very pumped as this game is looking really, really good. Looks like it's taking it to the Switch 2 hardware. It's not even coming to Switch 1. It's going fully next gen on all these platforms, so I'm very pumped to see what they got cooking with this game, as I thought the last two SpongeBob games were phenomenal. They even got David Hasselhoff to be in the trailer announcing this game, which was absolutely insane. Coming in December 4th is Octopath Traveler 0. This game quite literally came out of nowhere, as it was just announced at that Nintendo Direct, and I think a lot of us was expecting this to come out next year. But Square Enix was like, nope, it's coming out this year, in 4 months. And yeah, so I'm sure a lot of Octopath fans are going to go crazy over that. December 12th marks the day that Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection releases. And surprisingly, it's coming to the Switch 2, not as a game keycard. So I know a lot of y'all are going to go crazy and buy that game up. And yeah, you know, pretty cool to see that coming to the Switch 2. I know a lot of people have been asking for these old school Mortal Kombat games to come to modern day console. And for some reason, it took this long to get it. But hey, better late than ever, I guess. Now marks the games that have a 2025 release year, but doesn't have a release month. Metroid Prime 4 is coming out in 2025. My guess is October, but we should hopefully get an update on this game at some point. Kirby Air Riders is coming out in 2025. We have no idea what this game even looks like, so I think some people are worrying that maybe this game doesn't come out this year at all, as it's being developed by Sakurai, and Sakurai is not afraid to do video game delays if you followed the Smash Bros. History. So if this game needs a delay, Sakurai will enforce a delay. But my guess is that this comes out December 2025. Elden Ring, we don't know when this game's coming out for the Nintendo Switch 2. This seems to be a very big game that Nintendo and Bandai was piping up, but we don't have a release date yet, which is kind of concerning, other than it's coming this year. This is a major third-party game, and I'm very much looking forward to playing this, as I haven't really had the true Souls-like experience. I'm going to start with Elden Ring, so hopefully I'll be alright. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Now, this has been confirmed to come out in winter, but people are thinking that this might be getting delayed because winter can also be early 2026 apparently, but I'm still thinking it's coming out this year. Unless it got delayed, then that would come out next year, of course. But winter's all we know when it comes to this game coming out. It looks great though. We have Witchbrook that's coming out at some point in 2025. This is one of those cozy games, so I'm sure all the cozy game fans are gonna go crazy over this when it finally releases on Nintendo Switch 2. Actually, doing more research on this cozy game, apparently y'all have been waiting for this game since 2018. Wow. That's going to be a crazy game when it finally comes out. But it says winter 2025, so there you go. Hades 2 is releasing on Nintendo Switch 2 at some point this year. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of crazy that this game is finally coming out. And the only reason why I say finally, it feels like it hasn't been that long since we've been waiting for this game, because I remember when it was officially announced. I'm pretty sure it was in 2023 when it was announced, and they said 2025 would be a targeted year, I think. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so far away. And now here we are at the release date. It's just kind of crazy to think about. Final Fantasy VII Remake is dropping on the Nintendo Switch 2 this year. I am very excited to see how this game is going to be on the Switch 2. As if you followed the rumors before the Switch 2 was even announced, there was two games that Nintendo was showing its investors and third-party devs to hype up the Switch 2. That was Breath of the Wild running on the Switch 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake running on the Switch 2, which y'all heard my praises of Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2, and I'm hoping to get that same type of praise to Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, should be interesting to see as this comes out at some point this year. Hollow Knight Silksong is speculated to come out into 2025. Me personally, I don't think it's going to come out this year, but as I talked about, we're going to talk about everything that's been confirmed to come to the Switch 2, and this is something that's confirmed to come to the Switch 2. So, I'm sure the Hollow Knight fans, they're waiting, but at this point, they've already waited this long, so this is nothing to them. 2 Point Museum is coming out 2025 on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm very curious to see if they're going to implement any mouse controls into this game. That would be the only interest I have into picking this game up, but I'm sure a lot of y'all are pretty pumped for this as well. We have Marvel Cosmic Invasion coming out. This is one that I am pumped to see. As Marvel's had a big history of beat-em-ups before. If you followed X-Men, that's their iconic beat-em-up game. So it's cool to see them come back into this genre. Human Fall Flat 2 is supposed to come out at some point this year for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. And as we jump into 2026, we actually have some games that we know to expect. One of those games being Rean Animal. We just talked about how the Little Nightmare creators are not involved with the third game because they're actually involved into this game, which is going to be an entirely brand new IP. What's interesting about this game as well is that it's going at the full rated M rating, which tells me they're going to be able to have the freedom to do whatever they want with this IP. I feel like as I played the Little Nightmares, that they were kind of holding back because maybe Bandai didn't want them to do certain things that the game developers wanted to do in terms of its story. So I think the creators are gonna go very much crazy with Rean Animal. I think the big one in 2026 that people are waiting for is the Dusk Bloods, as this is looking like it's going to be a online multiplayer Souls-like game, especially coming from, is it FromSoft? Yeah, From Software, exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2. I know a lot of people are pumped for this, so it should be exciting to see more information on it. Then we have 007 First Light, which I think can also be 007 First Light. This is the first new GoldenEye type. Wait, is it GoldenEye? Is that the franchise? Or no, GoldenEye is what? I don't know. I don't know enough about these movies and games when it comes to this particular series, but 007 is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 with a new game in 2026, which should be interesting to see how this looks on Switch 2, because looking at it on other consoles, it's looking really good. So the Switch 2 version should be very interesting to see as well. From Devolver Digital, they have Star Seeker coming at some point into 2026. I'll be honest, the only reason why I think I'm a little interested is since it's coming from Devolver Digital. Monster Hunter Stories 3 is dropping in 2026. This, I think, is a very big deal for the Monster Hunter fans, as a lot of people really wanted something Monster Hunter on the Switch 2, and I don't think we're getting Monster Hunter. Is it Wilds? Is that what the new one's called? The Hunter World Wilds. No, it's not that. Dude, I look like an idiot right now. Hey Google, what is the new Monster Hunter game called? Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh, I was right. Hey Google, shut up. Thank you. They got that Stuart Little game dropping in 2026. I think it's called Hella or something like that. Yeah, no, I just look at this game and I think of Stuart Little, if I'm honest. And then The Adventures of Elliot is coming out in 2026, which already has a demo that you can play. A lot of people are saying that this is a very good game so far from the demo. If I was to guess a release date, I think it's going to come out September 2026. And then there's Splatoon Raiders. There is speculation that this is coming out in 2025, and if it obviously does not come out in 2025, it's coming out in 2026. There's been evidence, though, to support that it's coming out this year, so that would be exciting if they're able to make that happen. Tomodachi Life is obviously coming in 2026, and I think they're going to advertise that the Switch 2 version is the best way to play this game, as it kind of looked rough with the Switch 1 footage that they provided at that one direct. And then the return of Rhythm Heaven is happening in 2026 onto the Nintendo Switch, as Rhythm Heaven Groove is coming out. We don't know much more other than that and the like 30 seconds of gameplay footage that we got, but it seems like it's going to be a very special game for the Rhythm Heaven fans, as I know they are a die-hard community waiting for a new Rhythm Heaven game, and Nintendo finally provided that onto the Switch, as I think a lot of people was waiting for this in the first place, but then Nintendo was like, no, we're gonna put this on the 3DS. But now y'all are getting one on a home console, so y'all better show up and buy the game, since y'all are like crazy die-hard fans. And then I guess when it comes out, y'all are gonna say, the Patrick Star meme, I only have $2. Then it sells bad. Then we never see Rhythm Heaven again. Is that going to be you guys? Let me know. And then Enter the Gungeon 2 is supposed to come out at some point. They didn't give a release date of 2026, but it's speculated to happen at that point. Guys, those are all the confirmed Nintendo Switch 2 games to be coming out for the system. Now, I want to hear from you guys. How do y'all feel about this list of games? Considering that the system has only been out for 2 months at this point, I feel like this is a lot more confirmed games than what we got with the Switch 1. I just think the issue that the Switch 2 is having right now is there's no release dates. All it is just release years. This has been kind of a confusing console from a Nintendo standpoint, as with the Switch 1, we really didn't have this issue that bad. But I'm hoping when we get our first actual full-on Nintendo Direct from, like, where we can have first-party games, we'll be able to have a clear idea of when these games are releasing and hopefully get more third-party updates with things like Elden Ring. Overall, I'm happy with it and I can't wait to play some of these games. But guys, that's besides the point, as I have been talking for way too much. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, Discord, Instagram, all that good stuff that's in the description below. Monado Marine membership, $5 a month. It's our YouTube membership. People have asked about it. It's in the description. If you're on iOS, it's not going to show up the join button. But if y'all want to join that, it's cool features in there. Either way, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Persona 3.